Yeah, hi everyone, this is SportsReplays. This is how I did this round. So not too bad. Did better than I thought I did. So there was quite a few things that I wasn't too happy with, but mostly steady. So just in the top 20,000 this week. Not too bad for a first round. So let's have a look now. So we've got, so I ended up picking up Jake Sinclair, swapping him for Messiah, just to get that little extra money. And he'd actually done well the first two rounds. Done better than expected. So I'm happy with that. Connor Rosie, 105. I mean, okay in a losing side. Probably, average. Yeah, it's probably going to be an average selection this season. I mean, he's okay, I guess. Interesting to see when they seemed like a poor team this season, Port Adelaide. Then he got really him and Butters, which we'll get on to Butters in a minute. And then we've got Archie Roberts, 53, was probably the most disappointing play on my side, or one of. Considering I paid 450. Now I brought him in just for something a little bit different, and had a bit of money extra left over, and I wasn't too sure what to do with it, so I decided we'll take the gamble on with Roberts. But the main problem for this match is he didn't play that much on ground, had low time on ground, had poor disposal efficiency. So I'm not too sure what's going on there. I think that's more on Brad Scott's end, and I guess maybe because he was having a poor game as well. But considering you got a lot of young players there, Roberts had a good season last season. So I'm not too sure if he's injured or it was just a poor game. But because there's a few other players as well that had quite low time on ground as well from Essendon, and it's not your typical young players. It's some of your more experienced players as well, like Parrish, I think maybe even Cardwell. Could be wrong about that. Also had a low time on ground, so I think the coaching's been was pretty mediocre for this match, and it was a bit of a disaster. Now Windsor 70, which is okay. I mean, it was better than Archie Roberts. But probably a mediocre score. Look, I picked him based on the practice match, and this is something a little bit different. Although, I mean, a few people have gone Windsor and Roberts anyway, so it's not a complete pod, but, it's not like they're under 5%. I don't think so. Yeah, I think they're over 5%. So, I think Windsor's okay for now. It's got a few bigger problems in my side than him at the moment. But I have to wait and see because Melbourne did win. Interesting how he goes against the better teams. Melbourne did win, so and they've got Sarong 54. Not particularly happy with that. I mean, he's got the 70-80 score. Was it? Yeah, but got his round 0 scoring, so he's going to make money, but when it actually counts. So a little disappointing there. Hopefully he keeps his spot, and then Jakes did well again with 80, so he's going to go up in value quite a lot in the following weeks. They got Sam Grilled 73, so a bit annoyed I didn't start him. I mean, I only really lost 20 odd points anyway, so it's not a huge deal, but it could add up throughout the course of the season when I make mistakes like that. It's hard to tell. There was no loophole. If there was a loophole, I probably would have taken one of these guys off, but who knows? Sarong, Windsor, or Roberts could have got over 90 plus. So, I mean, it's not a huge deal, but it is a little bit annoying. And then Joel Lindsay, 61. That's not bad either. And then we've got the midfield here. So Zach Butters, 94, was probably the most disappointing player, or one of. I know 94 is, in the grand scheme of things, is like on the surface seems alright, but for a player you're playing 654,000 for, you want a little bit more. Now he's going to go down in price. It's just not good enough. Plus you have him as captain. So no loophole. And I'm thinking, they're playing North, but it was at Etihad. Marvel Stadium. So I wasn't 200% sure would it be the right decision, but you could get like 140, 150. yeah, he's capable of doing that. North Melbourne to consider a weak side, but yeah, player like Butters playing against a weak side, thought that'd be a perfect idea, but sort of you didn't even get 100. So probably lost. Depends who you had as captain, really. Some people had Bont, which I mean, I'm not paying 700k this time of the season. I mean, for midfielders when there's other options. Day cost here, 126, which is all right. It's the standard game from him. Errol Goulden, 112. So I guess that's a mediocre score. He's a bit cheaper than some of the other top-end midfielders. Surprised more people haven't gone with him, to be honest. Maybe because we'll just wait and see. We're waiting to see how he comes back from the injury. But I reckon he performed like he did a few seasons ago. He should be one of the top highest scorers in the game, or at least top 20, or maybe even top 10. And then Prajarka, he's probably been the best player of the last 2 rounds. So, yeah, 152, again, an outstanding score. Can't really ask for much more than from him. So, yeah, this Gold Coast there seems to be on another level this season so far. I know they've only played West Coast, but they did beat Geelong. Although they are playing at home, though, it's be interesting to see how they go away. I mean, they got Richmond next week, so they should win that pretty easily. But wait to see if they play a good team away. I would like to see that, see how they go. But you got Rao to come back in, so he's not going to score 150 every week like he has for the last couple of weeks. But it'd be interesting when Rao comes back in. Will that reduce Petrarca's scoring? That's what I'm a bit concerned about. But Young, 80. I mean, yeah, pretty average. I think he did alright for the first 3 quarters, but sort of drifted out of it in the last quarter. Sort of saw like Freo did as well. So, I mean, 80's okay, not terrible. Probably make a little bit of money on that, but ideally you want to get 100 plus scores or even 105 plus with this selection. And he's more expensive than a Parish or a Bruin. So, this one I had a few question marks over, but at the same time, I'm thinking, who else am I going to pick at that price that I don't have? And I think Young would be the best option. Unless I didn't use that money that I spent on Roberts and take it up to an LDU or some other midfielder on the rise. I'm not too sure. Maybe that could be one of the worst decisions I made this season so far. Who knows? And then Parish, 93. So again, sort of the similar problem with Archie Roberts and Sharp. There was low time on ground, and it was very, very frustrating. To get like 69%. Ideally, you probably want about 80. If you got an 80% time on ground, you probably would have got over 100. So I won't stress too much. I think once he proves his fitness and gets more match hardness, same with Roberts. Hopefully, they get more time next couple of matches, and there's easy opponents going forward. So you got Port and North Melbourne. Which you could potentially they can, if Vesta win those 2 games, could perhaps, push. You can get a couple of 110 plus scores, and that would boost his price there, and some cash there. But yeah, look, not terrible. Not the most concerning, considering he's scoring 93 of 60% or 69% time on ground. It's not a major problem. But if he does have that same low time on ground, same with Roberts, then it is a bit of a concern going forward, and it's a selection we might have to move on very shortly. Santa Bruno, 110, happy with that. So again, I was a bit on the fence with this selection, but seems like he's probably a lot less stressed now, Bruin, and he had a decent pre-season with the case off his back. So I think mentally and physically, he's probably in the best shape in his life. And we'll see how he goes in the next coming weeks. He's got the bye, so we'll talk about that later on. And Jagger Smith, who bounced back this round and got 113. And, Carlton won, but they were pretty ordinary, to be honest. Looked like a bottom four side, particularly in that second half. Because Richmond weren't that great either. Both sides were terrible in that second half. It was poor quality of football to watch. And Dyson Sharp, 57, with I think about 50% time on ground. So there's quite a lot of issues with the Essendon match this week. I don't know what's going on with Brad Scott, but he just seems to be not playing certain players with more time. And it happens to be the players that I've got my team. So, 57 for low time on ground is actually alright. So, once again, if he gets more time on ground, hopefully he will generate to 70, 80 scores. And that should be alright. Again, it's not a huge problem, but there are other midfielders. Or probably other rookies we will discuss in a minute. And then we got Watkins, 45. Picked him because he was cheap and he was playing, but I'm not too sure if he'll get a game next week. Since Port Adelaide did perform poorly, so yeah, that might be a bit of a concern. There was another player I had in from West Coast who didn't get selected. I think it was Finn McRae, and he wasn't selected, so I decided I'll take Watkins, which might be a bit of a poor call because there's other rookies that have done better than him, so that I don't have. And then you got Blummer's 70, which is pretty good for his price, so I'm happy with that. Sherry, so I stuck with Sherry in English. Now, I know a lot of people kind of off Sherry because of the high price point, but for me, there was no other one who I really wanted, none other top rucks that I want. You either go down, but they weren't quite as good as Sherry, and then there are a few, you go down all the way down to the rookies, and you've only really got ZZ here, and you got Reddy. Reddy is terrible. And then you got English. You got Grundy and Gorm, but they're a bit older now. Still good players and still score well, but yeah, I think Sherry's in a better age bracket, in my opinion. And it seems like it's worked well for this first match, but they were playing a weaker ruckman, so I'll probably hold on, but it seems to be alright for now. When North play, a better ruckman, I don't think he's going to score as well, but we'll wait and see. With these new ruck rules, I'm expecting probably his price to drop a little bit. That price, but the players around that price, other than English, I wasn't particularly too keen on. And English 127. Did well. Actually done well the last couple of weeks. So look, I reckon because he's a good around the ground, which suits the new rule structure. He's probably not quite as strong at the contest and he had some of the other ruckmen, but if it's a high scoring, free flowing game, which I reckon a lot of the Dogs games will be because they're more of very high, one of the best attacking sides in the comp. It's going to be more free flowing, which could be good and bad, but we'll wait and see with the rucks. It's a bit hard to predict the rucks this season. And then ZZ here, 62, and he got like a mid-50 score last week, so that's okay, but I'm more concerned. He's got the bye this week, and then the week after he's going to get selected, so we can get that at least one cashed in price rise out of him. He's done okay, but you got Aris Andrews coming back in, and a few other defenders, so we'll just have to hold on to that. You got Draper in, and you've also got 40 in, so I'm not too sure what they're going to do there, Brisbane. In the meantime, the forwards here mostly done okay. So start off with Sheasel, 134, great score. Definitely going to be the top four this season, I reckon. Even though it's only round one, I just got this sense, unless he gets injured, he's going to be a top scorer in the forward line this season. Pickett was the one I was on the fence about. I think Sam Darcy as well. I think Sam Darcy was a bit expensive. Had a poor, round zero game. Did alright this week, but he's going to go down in price. So Yeah, I'm unsure if that was the right selection bringing Pickett, even though Melbourne won. Might be a bit of a poor selection, but wait and see if he can get more midfield time, or he has a day out in the forline. Looks like Van Ruin did well this yesterday, so we'll have to wait and see with Pickett. It's probably one I might trade out maybe sooner, although he's expensive and he plays a few weak sides, like good Melbourne play. Freo, it's going to be a tough game, that one. I'm not expecting too much there. But, yeah, it's only round one, so it's at a good age bracket too. Well, there's 104, so he did better this week, which is great. St Kilda's lost, so lost the match, so well, if they play a weaker side, hopefully he does do perform. I'm playing GWS next week. So, I mean, St Kilda could be 0-3 and season's on the line already. Now they are playing an under-mean GWS, so a good chance of winning it, but it's hard to tell because GWS are a better team up there. They beat Hawthorn up there, so it'd be interesting to see how Flanders go. Still reckon he'll will increase. His price will go up. But will it be as much as a few seasons ago? I'm not too sure. And then Filippo, it was the lowest score this week for me. Out of all the bench and on field. So I think he got injured and he had a very, I think, under 50% game time. So he's probably one I have to get out because he has played 2 games and they weren't particularly that great. I mean, the first game was average, was okay, which would have been enough to get a price rise out of him, but 27, you're not really going to generate too much, and that's going to be his cycle for the next couple of weeks. And at this time of the season, you want to make as much money as you can. It's probably more about making money at this stage. And he'll probably have to go to another selection, which we'll get on to in a minute. Marshall did alright, but I think he was off the ground for a fair bit in the last quarter. So he could have got to 100, which would have been phenomenal. He was actually one of the better players. So, yeah, look, it was a good idea selecting Marshall. Hopefully he plays next week. He's got Essendon, so it's going to be interesting how that goes because it could be disaster for both sides, whoever loses. Not confident in either of those sides. And then you got Robertson, 105, which he's done really well considering his side got smashed. So, yeah, I think he wasn't quite good enough for Brisbane, but he'd be, a great play for West Coast. And then you've got Dobinson, 42, and Lombard, 55. Pretty mediocre there. Considering they won North Melbourne, but they've got West Coast. So what I'll probably do, I might even put either Sherry or Sheasel on captain. Haven't decided who. Maybe Sheasel. Although going up against one of the worst rucks in the comp. West Coast, Sherry could dominate. Probably might be a bit safer than Sheasel. Although I reckon they both will do well. And then you've got McAndrew, 88, who did really well. So I'm happy with that. I think mostly alright. There's a few selections like Roberts and I guess Filippo. A lot of people had Filippo. So it's probably not a huge problem. Unless, I guess Roberts, everyone has Sarong. I guess missing out on points there. And maybe the captain is probably where I lost the majority of the points as well. For people who had, a Sarong or a Bonsapali, or even having a Dacos or a Prochaka as a captain. So, maybe on the thought of it, I maybe could have put Prochaka as a captain. It would have been 60 points better off. It would have been miles ahead of most people. But, alright, so for next week, this isn't final, obviously, with the trades, but I think Filippo has to go. I'm not even too sure if he's going to play. He's not going to play. He's definitely not. We've got Brandon Cook here. Most likely I'm going to bring in. A few people have already got him in. So let's trade one. Get a bit of extra cash too. Now, there is a midfielder who I do want to bring in, but from West Coast. Should I get rid of Sharp? Watkins and Sharp, depending. I'm confident Sharp will play. Not too sure about Watkins. So, probably one of those two I'll trade. Maybe not. Maybe I'll give it a week. Because there really isn't too much I need to do this week. Maybe a Dobson. Maybe I could get rid of Dobson instead of Filippo. But so if I do get rid of Sharp, which I probably won't do, you got Miller, Murdoch. But that's only one game. So Carroll there as well, but he's obviously not going to have as much price rise, depending how well he goes. So my backing in is I could go on Miller, Murdoch either next week or bring him in this week. It depends. If Watkins is not playing, or Sharp, which I'm confident Sharp will. Actually, no, because you've got none of these aren't playing anyway, but I'm not too sure. Yeah, who's ever not playing out of these two, I'll probably trade him for Miller, Murdoch. Otherwise, I'll just save the trade and only keep it to one selection. Simply because Philippou, if he doesn't play, he's not going to score at all. And then if he does play, his price isn't going to go up as much. Yeah, maybe I could bring it, hold on, but most likely not. That way I can still prepare next week and make cutthroat decisions next week. Which is probably sort of the week you want to do it with the main price rises. There are some teams whose prices are going to go up anyway, which we'll have a look into it as well. That's most likely what I'm going to do. Not too much drama. No huge injuries. Other than maybe Filippo. Few concerns with Roberts, but we'll have to wait and see. Alright, well thank you for watching and hopefully you did well this week.